Hey everyone, today we're going to run through everything you need to know about framing canvas art inside floating frames. Now firstly, there's two ways you can frame canvas art. You can get it framed in a regular picture frame. We simply glue the canvas art down to our backing board and put a frame around it. Or we can put a floating frame around the stretched canvas art. Now, if you've got a canvas rolled up, first of all, it needs to be stretched to go in a floating frame. Thanks to our resident artist, Jessica, for donating this, her artwork. So what we would do is stretch the canvas and it would go over some stretcher bars like this. So it's nice and firm and ready to be framed. Now Mulbury has 8 different options for floating frames. So first of all, a floating frame will look like this. So your canvas art, once stretched, will sit inside a floating frame. You'll have a nice shadow gap like that, about 5 millimeters shadow gap all the way around, and it'll sit in there nice and flush at the front. And the depth of our canvas floating frames is 4 centimeters. So even if your canvas is only 1.5 or 2 centimeters, we'll put some packers in to make sure that it sits nice and flush at the front of our 4 centimeter depth. Now, the first two styles I want to introduce you to are our natural and our clear wax styles. Now, looking at the camera, you probably can't see too much difference between them, but the natural, this one it's more raw. It has a few different color tones, typically blonde and lighter color tones, whereas the clear wax has obviously a wax over it. It's a bit smoother. The colors are brought together a bit more, and it probably has a bit more of a beigey golden color compared to the natural. The naturals can still have golden and beige tones as well, but it's typically lighter. And all our floating frames are made from recycled timber, but typically Victorian ash or sometimes mountain ash timber as well. But they're two very popular options, the natural frame being slightly cheaper than the clear wax. Our grey floating frame is probably a style you're not going to see anywhere else. It's a complete raw timber. It's obviously seen the weather for anywhere from 30 to 100 years, and it's got that grey weathered timber colour to it. As you can see, all our frames will also can have the odd nail hole in it. It's just the nature of what we do. This one, I guess the type of art it suits could be something like a white and grey colour tones, and blacks as well. If you've got a lot of colours, it typically doesn't go as well with those types of artwork, but don't be afraid to try it out. It's definitely one that people love when they see it in person. This next one is our caramel wax. It's a medium brown. It's a nice consistent colour. The caramel stain that we put on these is a nice consistent colour, so it brings the colours of the timber together, and it's perfect. The next two are our cherry wax and chocolate wax. This one in the front is our cherry wax, and this is the chocolate. They probably look identical on the camera. In real life, the cherry is still a dark brown stain, but it's got a slight red tinge to it, whereas the chocolate wax is again like a rich, deep brown, but there's no red at all to it. So you can't see a huge difference on the camera, I understand, but if you're looking for something with a subtle redness to it, the cherry wax is definitely the way to go. But the chocolate wax is also a very popular choice. And finally, black and white. Okay, so if you're after a black or a white floating frame, you usually know what you're after. It's not to say that the black can't be replaced with something like the chocolate wax, but usually people know when they prefer a white or a black floating frame. And they're both a matte color, so they're not glossy at all. The white, as you can see there, hopefully the camera picks it up, but it's a matte white, so not too bright at all. And the black is a lovely finish, and a matte black. The thing with our black frames is the paint does take about a week to dry. So with the week there, it just can take a little longer to make them. Then once you've got your floating frame around your canvas, the next thing to do is install it at the back. So typically screws go through here and into your stretcher frames to join it on so it sits in place. Now we can send you the frame to install your canvas art yourself. So we're based in Melbourne, and if you're interstate and you don't want to send your canvas to us because it's sentimental or it's obviously quite valuable, we're happy to send the frame for you to do it yourself. You will need a drill and a Phillips head drill bit, but we also have a video on that to show you how to install those. And string, we always provide string to hang your canvas art. So whether you wanted a portrait, landscape, however you want it to hang, we can do the string for that. And if you want it to hang both ways, because you might have some art that looks good hanging portrait or landscape, we can string the frame both ways for you. We ship around Australia as well. We can ship overseas, but typically our turnaround time is about 2 to 3 weeks to make these floating frames, and then you'd add on shipping times to those as well. We hope that helps you make an educated decision about which type of floating frame you're after for your canvas art. And we're always here to make suggestions if you have any questions. And please don't hesitate to get in contact with us.